Hey there, and welcome to Behind the White Coat. I'm Amanda Barron, your host, physician spouse, and your go-to friend for real talk about this medical life. If you're juggling long hours, solo parenting, or finances, and feeling overwhelmed, you are not alone. This podcast is your space for honest conversations, real advice, and the support that I wished I'd had years ago. So some episodes will be just me sharing what I've learned along the way, and then other times I'll bring on guests to help navigate the challenges of being married to medicine. So grab a cup of coffee or wine, get comfy, and let's dive in. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode. So excited to have you here, and I'm even more excited to introduce you to today's guest. We have the privilege of having Chris Herring here with us, and he is a go-to market engineer and partner leader who has spent the last decade working with early-stage SaaS startups towards successful acquisitions. He is also the co-founder of Otherside Med, which is a community of about 17,000 physician families, and the co-founder of the Hippocratic Collective. Aside from his work and his career, he is a dad to two beautiful little boys, a husband to an OBGYN physician, and lives just outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Chris, welcome.
Thanks, Amanda. It's fun to be here. It's fun to be a part on the show. It's fun to be part of just what you're building with this podcast. So I'm excited for today.
Yeah. It's fun to actually meet outside social media. So quick backstory, Chris and I met through Instagram, and I'm not even exactly sure how the algorithms put us together, but obviously having some parallelism with physician life, physician family, physician spouse, I am grateful that it brought us together. What I always say is no matter where you are in this life of being married to medicine or having a family in medicine, I feel like we all have a story to share. We all have something that we can learn no matter where we are in that process. And so I just appreciate you being here and sharing a little bit about you and your family's dynamics with our listeners.
Well, I appreciate it. I can just echo for the listeners who are just being like, hey, I'm in this journey and I don't know if you're first year into this, like whether you're med school or you're in residency and you're attached to a partner or you're of a physician, or you're seasoned attending and you're a spouse to that attending. I mean, I just know I felt so alone so early in my wife's residency journey. I'm like, there's got to be other people who feel this way, right? And so that was when I was thankful to meet you, to have you share your story with Otherside Med and your family's journey of your husband's fellowship and the living in different states and trying to make it work and buying a house without him even seeing it and all of that stuff. I'm like, gosh, this woman gets my life. Like, so that's where I was like, once I started connecting the dots with other people who were walking through the same life journey as I was, I found so much more peace in being married to medicine and someone in medicine and everything that came with it than feeling like I was so alone. So,
and also the need for it, right?
Yeah.
The need for being able to know it's okay to feel this way. It's okay to go through these ups and downs, and that you have support, even if it's not somebody directly right beside you, right there where you live. That it's nice to know that you're not alone.
Yeah, 100%. It's not that you need to have a phone call or someone to call every day of the week. It really is like, oh, I see one thing off of someone's Instagram page. I'm like, wow, I feel seen. I'm like, get it.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Right.
And that was enough, right? That sometimes is all you need to say, okay, there are other people like me.
And I can do this.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, so tell us a little bit about your family dynamics, a little bit about your spouse, and just what your family looks like.
Yeah, happy to. Well, I'm proud, like you kind of highlighted in the intro, but I'm a proud dad of two. I've got a 2.5-year-old, and we had him in Hannah's second year of residency. And then we just had our second a month ago. So it's been a beautiful, hard, challenging journey of raising kids in residency, but one that we wouldn't trade for anything. And on top of the two boys, I'm married to an incredible woman. Hannah is a chief resident, OBGYN resident who's about to graduate in 2 weeks.
Yay, that's huge. Huge for you guys. Huge. So congrats to both of you.
Thank you. So yeah, we've got a lot of transitions about to come up with. We sold our house. We bought a new house. We closed on it Monday. We are moving in 3
Amazing.
weeks, and then she'll start her practice
Yeah.
in September. So we've got some downtime for her as she studies for
Downtime.
boards. Yeah,
Is
downtime
there
with two
really
toddlers. Yeah,
downtime when you're moving and two little boys and work and all the
yeah.
above? But you handle it, and so does Hannah, with such grace. So
Thanks.
kudos to
So
you
yeah,
guys.
that's a little bit about kind of where we've been. But
Yep.
I'm from Virginia. She's from North Carolina. We met while she was in medical school. I was in graduate school, and fell in love, and got hitched, and packed our bags, and moved to Pennsylvania. And we've been here the last 4 years.
The rest is history, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Your family is beautiful, and I love
Thank you.
following along y'all's journey and all that you share on Instagram. So, with that being said, that kind of leads us into the things that you guys do share. So, tell everybody, if they don't know, about Other Side Med.
Yeah. About through 2 years into residency, I had tossed this idea out to my wife, and I was like, "Hey, I don't see other men really talking a lot about their medical journey. Who's not the physician? There's a lot of
Right?
male
Yeah.
physician influencers on social, but I really didn't see this whole like family element of
Mm-mm.
what does a family in medicine look like." Um, and I mean, my life in the SaaS world was insane. This was even the year before we had kids. Just because my wife was working 80 hours a week, it doesn't mean that I wasn't. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
no, I was just grinding at all hours. So I'm like, what else am I going to do?
Sure.
And so while I had this idea of trying to showcase what we're going through, looking back, I'm glad we didn't start it earlier on, because I think it took a few years of maturity within our marriage to say this
Mhm.
is what life together will encompass in residency, for us to actually then talk about what can this become to encourage other people. Because definitely there were some hard times within our marriage over the last few years where we're like,
Oh yeah.
holy cow, are we going to get through this? Or can we
Yeah.
do this? Can we do it well? Can we really listen and support each other in the way that we would hope for our marriage, and without
Mhm.
it ending in divorce, or it just constantly living like roommates?
Sure,
Um,
sure. Well, marriage is hard to begin with.
right.
I tell everybody nothing's perfect. It takes work on both sides, understanding, listening. But then when you throw into the mix the lifestyle of medicine and medical training, and both of you being exhausted, burning the candle at both ends, I do feel like it adds a whole nother wrinkle
Totally. That's
into,
exactly it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And so when we really decided that, hey, we're ready to, and I don't even want to say start this page, because we didn't know what it would become, right? It
yeah.
was just,
It grew
we
pretty rapidly, let me tell you.
well, you were one of the very beginning. It's funny because Hannah and I looked back and we can
Yeah.
identify like who are those like first 100 people who are like,
Yep.
hey, this is me. Let's do this together. We
Right.
are this community that who really understand what we're trying to support each other within.
Mhm.
And so you've seen it from the start. We started nearly a year ago, just over a year ago. We started the
Yeah.
page, and it came out of just this desire to say, hey, we've done 3 years of residency now. We have learned a lot about each other. We've learned a lot about how to communicate. We've learned a lot about our love-hate relationship for medicine,
Mhm.
like the system of
Oh,
medicine,
yeah.
not just like you as a doctor, but the whole system that's
Yep.
orchestrated around it. And at the end of the day, I felt there was a need to speak to the partners in medicine. And that was initially the thought process behind it. I was like, hey, we're just going to create this page, and I'll just be the content creator, just saying like, hey, this is me attached to or married to a physician. And
Right.
then Hannah was like, I think you're missing a whole nother piece of this. And I was like, what do you mean? And I really didn't get it at first, because she goes, just because I'm a physician doesn't mean that's where my life stops. Like, I crave to come home. I look forward to coming home and having a life that has nothing to do with the hospital.
Yep.
And I know my peers who have families want the same thing.
Yeah.
And so being able to showcase what that life and what that balance can be, besides, hey, I'm gonna be late for work, or I'm gonna be late for dinner, or I'm not gonna be home in time, or I'm not gonna be there to put the kids to bed. Um, like, they want to be there, and to be able to showcase some of those stories too was this perfect blend of, let's make this about both partners in this relationship, and not just isolated to one or the other. And so
And that's what I think makes it such a great page, and it's grown so fast, is you guys have both perspectives on there. So, not just having the spouse who is taking the brunt of whatever's at home at that season of life, but also the perspective of the physician wanting to be home and wanting to kind of have this balance of both sides, and what does that look like, not only from your eyes but also Hannah's. And I think that has been huge for you guys, and for your audience and your growth.
Well, thank you. In a weird way, it's its own accountability too.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, we don't want to just give a message or say one thing that we aren't actively working on and accountable to each other for. Like, if we want this type of relationship for others in medicine, like, we have to do that for each other. And so it's been good in that sense where, yeah, you don't want to speak out of two sides. It's like you get what you get. You get what you get with us. Like, we want to always be as authentically us from day one. That was the goal. Is like, we don't want to compromise any of our morals or values or what we believe is right or wrong for the sake of growth. It was, this is who we are.
Yeah.
If it impacts one person, great. If it impacts 17,000, holy cow, that's insane. Like, we never dreamed of it that way.
Amazing. And I love how real you guys are. And I think the thing too is, just like in life, in marriage, in your medical journey, it's a season. And I feel like from what you need or your spouse needs, it changes season to season, and constantly learning and growing. And so I think you guys sharing that as well really, really resonates with a lot of people.
Well, thank you. It's a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have really enjoyed it. So thank you. But I will say, I think you nailed it initially when you were talking about how you didn't see the male spouse and a lot out there on that. And I've even tried to kind of look up statistics for things like that. And it's not the easiest to find. And even for me and most of the physician spouses that I work with, real estate wise, or the local group that I have built here is primarily female. Yeah. And so I wanted to ask you, now that you've been doing this longer, have you found more support for that male side of the physician spouse? And because I would love to be able to grow that here as well, because I know there's a need, but I have not come across that yet. So I would love to just pick your brain on that.
I wish I could say yes, but I've yet to find it myself.
It's tough.
And there were a couple of other, I think, pages, but then they just go, it's a good idea, and then they go quiet, or they go dormant, or they just like, there was Dads of Medicine. There's a Facebook page there, an Instagram page elsewhere.
I saw that.
And then they just kind of fall off. They don't have the engagement. And when that kind of falls apart, the commitment that you want to then portray of like, well, I belong here, kind of dies off with it. And so it's been something that, as Other Side Med has grown, was a part of the vision that we had for the Hippocratic Collective, being something a little bit bigger than it just being an Instagram page and a social community, that it does kind of branch out into more real life, tangible resources that drives actual in-person community, webinars, talks, that get-togethers, whether that's subgroups, whatever that could look like. Because I've seen that done really well with the women's side of things. I mean, there's a couple of different organizations that do an incredible job of supporting the women who are married to male physicians. And I'm like, why is there this like such dichotomy of like, you belong here, but you can't show how you feel on this side of the equation? So I don't know what the answer is, but it's something I've given a lot of thought to.
Yeah, I have too. And I try to make it known that everyone is welcome here, but we just primarily have females that attend the event. And I was chairing a couple years ago the event here in Nashville for the American Medical Association Alliance, which is a national program, for physician spouses. And we did have a couple men in the group, and one in particular on the board, and who will now be the new president, which is awesome. Yeah. But, they are a few among the many. And so I would love to see that grow.
Agreed. And I think it just starts by, without it isolating myself to being the spokesperson, but it's like, it's going to take more people like me who are going to be willing to prioritize that time. And share. Exactly. Otherwise, they're going to say, I'm too busy. I've got my full-time job. I'm supporting the family. I'm trying to do everything I can to not like suffocate over here. Why am I going to go then create videos or
one more
be
thing,
a part
right,
of something else?
And
And so I just do think other men need to see other men talking about it for
Sure.
them to ever feel like
I agree.
there's going to be a change in the system there.
Well, you're well on your way. Well on your
Thank
way
you.
to changing that. So kudos to you. Okay, so you kind of touched base on it just now, leading into this next question, but having the time. So you both have dual careers, parenting. Do you guys have help? How do you find that work-life balance? Because I know you travel quite a
Mhm.
bit for work, and then having two little ones, and then Hannah's schedule. I would love to kind of
Yeah.
hear how you guys make that work.
Yeah, we have been super blessed with the most incredible nanny. And I'm never going to just say, like, hey, then let the nanny raise your kids, because I don't think that's the nanny's responsibility ever. Because
Mm-hmm.
as parents, like, we do take full ownership of the growth and development of our children. But because we are dual income and spent lots and lots of hours working and traveling and doing those
Yeah.
things, we knew that we needed help when we started thinking about what does a family in medicine look like, specifically a family in residency. And so our nanny, we hire a nanny that works with us full time, Monday through Friday, 40 hours a week. And
Mm-hmm.
so that allows me to cover like my day job, right? Which is great. And then it often just turns into, you know, playing with the kids to dinner. But after my nanny leaves, we play together, we cook dinner together, we then get them down to bed. And
Mm-hmm.
then Hannah and I will spend, as much quality time as we can together, but more often than not, that quality time looks like sitting on the couch, catching up, just being real with each other for a bit. But then she's going to go back to studying, charting, prepping patients for the next hour or two. And in that time, I'm working on, my second job or whatever I'm building on the side or thinking about and things of that nature. So our nanny has been super helpful. Both of our parents they don't live close to us. When we moved for
Mm-hmm.
residency, we're 9 and 11 hours away from both sets of our families, but they've done an incredible job of being present when they can be, for when I'm having to travel for work or, whatever the reason may be. And they are the first to drop what's going on in their life to say, well, come help. And I know not everyone's as fortunate in that sense to be able to have that support, but for us, it's made a big difference for it. And then you asked the question of like, how do we find balance?
Yeah.
And I don't mean to laugh at the question, because it's like,
Is there
you need
really
it,
a
but
balance?
is there right? Is there that balance? I mean, for better or worse, Jeff Bezos says, it's either Bezos or Jobs, who just said there's no such thing as work-life balance. I think it was Bezos who said he tries to shoot for work-life harmony. And maybe that's BS, maybe it's cliche, but he said this harmony is that you just have to find whatever piece is going to work for you and your relationship with whatever you have going on, in accordance with the family that you're trying to build. Right.
Sure.
And so maybe two sides of the same coin, maybe it's not.
Yeah,
I don't know.
remember we were talking about, I agree with you, because I think how we talked about seasons. So for my job, I have a busier season and not so busy season. So I feel like I kind of take a little bit more during the not so busy times. My husband kind of stays the same as far as busy time goes for him and all. But I think having those expectations set up front of what's going to happen, what this week look like for both of our schedules, kind of can help make a little bit of a balance. But I agree. I feel like every week I'm always like, okay, if I can just get through this week.
It is true. And I'm glad you kind of started catering towards more of a practical sense of like, how do you take actionable steps to finding some sort of balance or harmony, whatever you want to call it. And that was something that Hannah and I set up at the very beginning of residency. Was, whether she's working Sundays or not working Sundays, before we go to bed Sunday night, we're mapping out the calendar for the week. Who's going where? Am I traveling? What rotation is she on? What do her hours look like? And then what does that look like for meals this week? Am I cooking them all? Is she here to help some ways? Am I ordering groceries and having them delivered? Or do I have time to go get them all, right? Some of those practical things that we've been able to figure out. But if we didn't have those weekly meetings that we actually call like business meetings, like family business meetings, to help keep our family moving forward versus just being like, what the heck happens?
I totally agree with you.
Those were helpful
totally
for
agree.
us.
Yeah. Thank you for kind of going over that, because I know there's no perfect system. And I feel like each week our systems change depending on what we need. So I totally agree with you. And I love the weekly meetings. We have them as well. And we've had them. I mean, our kids are now almost 17 and 19, and we still have them. And even though I have one that's off at college, home for the summer, those weekly meetings still make a big difference.
I can imagine they're even more harder, more needed as the kids get older, right? It's like, are you going to be home for dinner this week, or are you not? Are you out with friends, or what's
Yeah.
needed in so many different ways, right?
Running
Yeah.
around, or do you have 5 friends coming for dinner that I
Yeah.
need to know about and be prepared for?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys dabble in real estate investing.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that, especially I think from a perspective of when you started, how you got
Mhm.
into it, because finances are always a huge question that people have in residency and paying off debt or whatever
Yeah.
that might look like for saving for the future.
Yeah. I started in real estate 2016.
Mhm.
2016. It was really a byproduct of, well, I was not a byproduct of my brother getting into real estate, getting his real estate license, and pushing my entire family to say, we need to build this
Yeah.
massive portfolio, and we
Build your
can do
wealth.
this.
Hmm.
Yeah, we can do this as a family, and just kind of start our own little herring empire. And so that
I
was
love
like
it.
where the talks initiated. But really, we saw my dad really live this out my entire life. I mean, he was, as a side hustle, had kind of bought, flipped, and so I grew up helping him remodel homes, doing some electrical work, doing plumbing work, doing just kind of like fixer
Jack of
upper
all
type of
trades.
things. Yeah, just because I saw my dad do a lot of this with like small 2-3 bedroom townhomes
Hmm.
growing up, and so he and my mom, they collectively started building out their own little portfolio. And then it was my younger brother who really like made this charge of, why do we not do all of this together? Why don't we not like work towards a common goal, create a vision, and kind of a business within our family that we can start
Hmm.
growing? And so this was before Hannah was in the picture. I had already graduated college. And so as a working professional, where there's, I was fresh out of college, so I didn't make much money at the time, but
Yeah.
there's enough money as a single living on my own, doing my own thing, where I could then start making some investments and some safer bets. And that's where we started with going in on a few townhomes and thinking about what does that look like collectively. So I'm not having to front all this cash.
Hmm.
And there's a couple of different strategies depending on people's financial situations. That there's pros and cons to working with family. There's pros and cons to how much you finance versus how much you
Sure.
front. There's pros and cons to taking money out of your own like personal HELOC if you're a personal homeowner to then front the capital for that next
That
loan.
purchase. Yep.
Yeah, or that next purchase. And so we've done all the above. And
Hmm.
we've learned a lot about working with each other. We fought over certain things when it comes to what should we do or what shouldn't we do. But that was a really helpful foundation for me thinking about just investments in general. Like, I would say real estate is probably one of these long-term safer bets when it comes to
Sure.
investment versus other aspects of where you could then be putting your money. It's definitely been true for us, but that's been a foundation for how I think about where can we double our real
Hmm.
estate. And then when I met Hannah, things changed a little bit, right? When you start thinking about your world medicine, the debt that's associated with medicine,
Right.
you not making hardly any money during residency. And so we're thankful for it, right? But it's not going to be something that for many families can then just say, well, I'm a resident. I'm also going to go and invest in a property right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I'm the best person to ask advice for, just because we are fortunate in the sense of like what I make now plus what she does gives us a lot of freedom and flexibility to say, hey, I think we can do X, Y, Z
But I
elsewhere.
think it's a good topic because that's one of the things when I ask my incoming residents, I help all the time. What's your long term goal? And
Mm-hmm.
so, they may be looking for a place to live right now during their 4 years of residency, but in those 4 years when they leave, they could rent it out to an incoming
Totally.
resident.
Yep.
And so that is a revolving door
Yep.
that is a great renter, right?
Yep.
And can become very lucrative. So even if they are in that early season, it is a question I always ask as far as what does your long term goal look like?
There's a lot of different ways you can get into that with
Yeah.
even with little money, right? Like all you need is the upfront cash, and in today's economy, you can get it. Like
Yeah.
if someone somewhere will give you a loan, and depending on how sharky they are and your interest rates, but um, but you can house hack, and I think that's where many residents probably don't even take advantage of. Like, hey, I want ownership. I got
Hmm.
3 other single like residents
Right.
who are looking for a place who don't want to spend $2,000 or $2,200 on a 2 bedroom apartment. Like, hey, let's buy a room or rent a room, right? And you
Right.
start kind of like sharing this, and they quickly start paying off your mortgage for you.
Hmm.
And then you come out of that, and then you can then move on or sell it or hold it, to your point. It's a lot of different creativity. Like we did that here with our house now. We
Amazing.
immediately renovated our basement and doing its own like studio apartment down here, bathroom, everything you could want. And we rented out to med students who are rotating through on audition rotations while we lived upstairs. So it was super easy.
Yeah.
And they paid half the mortgage while we were just kind of like, well, we don't go down there very much, so why not? So
Right.
it was an easy fix for us.
Yeah. No, that's great. And I think targeting the medical community is brilliant because no matter what's happening with interest rates, the residents are still coming in, the fellows and the travel nurses are still coming in. So I think that's brilliant.
And safer bets when you're like, I don't know who
Yep.
this person is coming in. Like they're going to be spending a ton of time at the hospital, so the likelihood of them coming in and messing up your space is slim to none.
Rarely there. They are
Yeah.
rarely there. And so you're 100% right. And then once you become their landlord, it spreads quickly that you're a great landlord. So then they just pass it on to the incoming med students or residents. And so it just becomes a nice little passive income for you.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah, I love that. All right, Chris. So I like to wrap up my guest interviews with 2 questions. Everybody gets the same last questions. So, tips or advice you would give your younger self?
Tips or advice I give my younger self. The immediate one that comes to mind is that you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know that sounds cliche, and I know we got into this earlier, but when residency was not med school for us,
Yeah.
you know, and I think I felt like I really had mastered, oh, this is I can do this. This is going to be easy. And I think the tips to my younger self 4 years ago would simply have been like, you need to be honest and lean on others, because I'm someone who did not wear my emotions on my sleeve. I just ball it all up and I just power through. You're going to get through this. You're like, it's just a hard season, right? Like, yes, there's a hard season, but you have to acknowledge what some of the things are that are going on in that season. Otherwise, you're going to lose yourself. And I've quickly found myself just lost first year. Like, why am I here? I have no place here. No one knows me. And I quickly realized that I was making it all about me. It's like me versus someone else. Like there being other people that I really could lean on that I just didn't choose to. And so my advice to me was like, hey, once you are invested in this long-term road and relationship with medicine and with your spouse or whatever it may be, like, and you've got to be honest with yourself about where you are so that you can lean on others to help in the process. You can't do it by yourself.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice. And I have an additional question on top of that.
Okay.
When you were saying, it was all about you and you didn't really have anybody.
Yeah.
So what did you do? I know probably a mindset shift, but what did you do to find those people there to help you and be your support?
Yeah. It honestly didn't come geographically local. To like the fix was not here in Reading, PA. One, it was being honest with my wife about it. Because I think that was causing marital challenges and frustrations and elsewhere. Because you just felt like I just had a big wall up.
Right.
And she's like, I don't know who you are anymore, right?
Yeah,
like, talk
what's
to
going
me.
on? Yeah.
Yeah. So that was step one of just really being honest about how I feel about everything we're going through. Talking about counseling and just being like, hey, no matter how much money it costs, no matter how much time you have, how do we figure this out together if we're going to survive?
And it's okay to ask for help. I think
100%.
that's the hard part for people to come to terms with, whether it is mental help, counseling for marriage, that it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah. And then lastly, there were a group of guys that I've been very close with, and they're all around the country now. We lived together when I lived in Seattle after college, and they're all dispersed across the country. And being honest with that group of guys was critical for me to have a voice, to have support, for them to listen, for them to just be like, do I need to fly out? I'll be there tomorrow. That type of thing that I just ignored for the first year of residency, just being like, oh, residency's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, tell me about you guys. Like it really was that whole vulnerability aspect of this is what my life looks like and I'm struggling.
What a great group of buddies and friends. And I think going through situations like this, hard times, really let you see who is in your corner, really see who those true friends are.
Totally agree with you. They were life-giving friends for me in a season I needed them desperately. So that's what I would encourage especially other men. If men listen to this podcast too, it's so, I think by nature, we just isolate ourselves. We can do this. And it's like, go find somebody. It'll make all the difference.
100%. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one. If your life were a reality TV show, what would the title be?
The title, I was thinking, what show would it be? And I was like, oh, it'd be The Amazing Race, but what title would it be?
Yep. What would the title be?
Yeah, the title would probably be Broken but Hopeful.
Hey, I think that's real. It's honest.
Yeah.
It's true. My transparency, and I've said this from day one years ago. My husband, we matched 19 years ago, and it was, welcome to the shit show, everybody.
Love it.
Come on in.
Yeah.
And because it was chaotic and we made it work, and there were good and bad times. And
I love that too.
It was that was what I would have called it. So
yeah, and that's it. Totally resonates. 1,000%.
But I think your title's better than mine. I like yours much better.
Yours was more clickbaity and catchy. Like, oh yes, I resonate with that. Tell me more. So,
well, so if listeners want to connect with you, whether it's to follow you, reach out because maybe they do need some support, especially from a male who has gone through this, what's the best way that they can get in touch with you?
Yeah, I would encourage you guys just to send us a DM on Instagram. Or there's a contact form on our website, othersidemed.com. But Instagram, there's so many people who have DM'd us over the last year. And my wife and I both, we've jumped on Zoom calls. We've talked about networking and have people who are looking for jobs because they're moving for residency. And they're like, I had to transition everything. I have no idea what to do now. And we've been able to help. So if that sounds like you, shoot us a DM. There's not a question or a feeling that you're having that we haven't shared ourselves. So that'd be the first place to connect with us on.
Well, you guys are so kind. And I know we talked about having you both on again next time. So I would love to have both of you on. And I know you have so much more to share and teach everyone else. And so I just appreciate you and your time. And congrats on the baby. And good luck with the move. And congrats on just finishing everything up. That's huge.
It is. It feels good to close this out and to close out well. And I mean, just major shout out to Hannah. She's an incredible wife, incredible physician, incredible mom. Like she does so much well, and I couldn't be more proud of her and be able to be proud to do this with her. So I'm excited to have her on the show and be able to contribute again next time.
That's awesome. Well, congrats to you guys, and I just appreciate your time being here. And till next time.
Until next time. Thanks, Amanda.
All right. Bye. That's a wrap on this episode of Behind the White Coat. I hope today's conversation left you feeling more understood and supported. And if you enjoyed this episode, I would love for you to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with another physician spouse. Your support helps more of us to connect. Keep in mind, this podcast is for you. So let's keep this conversation going. DM me on Instagram at Amanda Barron, Realtor, with your thoughts, topic ideas, questions, or even guest suggestions. I would really love to hear from you. Thanks for spending part of your day with me. And remember, you are never in this alone. See you next time.